Hi, everybody. Welcome to Broker Connect. Happy Friday. Gonna give it a minute so that everybody can join as they're all coming in. My name's Jalen Vick. I'm part of our client engagement tier here, ARIVE, and we are so glad you are here with us on your Friday. If you are not familiar with Broker Connect, it is our biweekly interactive session featuring our top brokers, our power users of ARIVE. It's a great opportunity to learn best practices and see how others are leveraging the platform and pick up a ton of useful tips. I am here today with Adriana Bates from Clear Mortgage in Kansas City, and I'm so excited to have her here. But before we start introductions, I do want to cover a few pieces of business as far as our training opportunities go. So, we do have onboarding session every Monday at 10 a.m. that you can join. That's Pacific time. We do have our new user trainings every Tuesday, Thursday. We have part one and part two that is 10 a.m. Pacific and 12 p.m. Pacific. And then every day at 12 Pacific, we also have our live Q&A where you can jump on and just ask whatever you need to. And we have Arrive University every other Friday. And of course, we also have Broker Connect, which you are on, which is also going to be every other Friday. We will throw in the chat the link to some of our events. And then I do want to kick it over to our amazing guest, Adriana. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself before we start getting
Okay.
going with some questions, that would be awesome.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. I know I have been on a Broken Connect. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, right? Am I wrong with that? I don't know. It was a while back, and a lot of things have changed, and there's so many advancements, and the platform's just evolving. So I'm really excited to be back on. Like Jalen mentioned, I am from Kansas City. Not originally. I'm from upstate New York originally. My husband is from Western Kansas, so we call Kansas City home. We've been here for 15 years. I'm a mom first. I have three boys, 11, 9, and 6. They are crazy. We are out of school, and I am like, if I look like I'm on fire, I'm literally on fire because like it is nutso having them all home. It's a lot of energy in our house. And I'm a serial entrepreneur. So we own Clear Mortgage. My husband and I own it together. That is totally another session that we need to do about therapy, about working with your spouse. Just kidding, but no. And we also have a couple of other companies. Off Days is my passion project, which is an online platform that connects parents to online activities for their kids. We're launching that, so that's been fun. And yeah, last year, I know you always want us to talk volume. So my personal volume was 183 units for 55 million last year. So I was pretty excited about that. I have a team that helps me do it, and we are 100% referral based, which has been interesting in this environment, in the real estate environment in the Midwest, to stay that way. Don't ask me if I love real estate agents right now. I don't. No, I'm just kidding, but I don't. Yeah, so is that a good enough intro? I hope that's enough.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that.
I'm
I
an
want to
Aries
kick
if you
things
want to know that.
off with a question before we get going and open it up to everyone else's questions. If you don't mind telling us how you discovered Arrive, why you decided to try it, what you
Yeah.
used before, and ultimately why you use it for your business.
So I can't remember where I met Harish. Maybe I think I met Harish at a Windsor event. I think back in the day. I can't remember exactly where, but I was on Calix Point beforehand. So I was in retail. So I got into the business in 2009, was in retail and a bank all the way up through, I think, until the last 7 years. Yeah, so right when my third child was born. So right at 2018, we started Clear Mortgage, and then I became a broker. So originally on Calix Point, Encompass was expensive. We looked at a couple for the LOS, and Calix was old, clunky, but it was easy. I had used it before, so I knew it. And a little archaic, didn't sync, didn't have APIs with anything. So it was a lot of plugging into many systems. So I also was building out my entire career. I've been building out Salesforce as our CRM. So I've been working on that for 13 years. And one of the frustrating pieces, and I was talking to Harish about this at that Windsor event, I believe, was how Calix didn't talk. So it's so much double entry for my team. Like we were entering things in the LOS, then entering things into Salesforce. And he was one of the reasons that I even started talking about Arrive was he was talking about how API was going to be something in the future.
That's awesome. Okay, so I want to take a minute to tell everybody if you want to take yourself off mute, you can do that to open it up for some questions. If you want to put it in chat, this is an interactive discussion. And just to prove that we are interactive, I want to throw in a little bit of fun for an office scavenger hunt moment. So if you like prizes, the first person to show us a sports jersey in their office will be the winner. And if it happens to be in Kansas City, you might get an even bigger prize, even though Adriana's not a fan.
So we were joking about that. Like, obviously, our entire city is loving our Chiefs, right? But my husband and I have been a 49ers fans forever, which has been very painful for our household because obviously our kids are Chiefs fans. So it's just been a lot of crap talking from my sons to my husband about
Okay.
how it
I'm
was.
watching the video. Jen, are you watching too? I'm like, I don't see anybody who has any jerseys to show us today. Let's see. Get some
Oh,
chat going.
Colleen, where are you? Do I see her? Is she in here? She's probably on a horse. Colleen Wood's amazing, and she's probably out riding horses somewhere on her amazing Idaho
We
Ranch.
have one, Chicago coming in. Hey,
Ooh,
Daniel. Oh, you get a special prize from me.
yay.
I live in Chicago, so we've got you. Awesome.
He
That's
wasn't. I didn't even
awesome.
see it. I'm trying to
If
find it.
I know I couldn't see it either, but if Daniel can put a message to either Jen or I with your email address, just send us a private message. We will get you a prize. Thank you for being interactive. We
It's
always
awesome.
appreciate that. While I'm waiting for some questions in here, if there's any way that you can tell me a little bit about some of your integrations and your zaps and all that, because I saw that it looked like you were a little into that. So tell me
Yeah.
what you have working.
Well, I'm a systems girl, like we talked about, and it's really just about creating more efficiencies for my team. The easier their jobs are, the less they complain to me and the less turnover we have in our office. So for personally, when Arrive gave a one-way sync to Salesforce, so it talks from Arrive to Salesforce. And soon, Harish has, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but it's coming out. Maybe I'm not going to say the date. There will be a two-way API availability for some fields, so that way they can talk back and forth. So if we make changes in Salesforce, it'll talk back to Arrive to Salesforce. So we use Zapier. We create Zaps for each field to update appropriately so our milestones are moving in Salesforce. And I know that I will get on a training to hopefully one day get off of Salesforce and come and use Arrive 100% for our CRM. But just right now, like a lot of our milestone movement, a lot of our update, a lot of our automated texting is done through Salesforce and it works well. So that's why we needed the milestone movement from Arrive to talk to Salesforce to trigger those.
And
So that was,
this is Harish. I'm not sure if you can hear me. Thank you, Adriana, for coming. We
I didn't
appreciate
know
your
Harish was
support.
on here. He's going to yell at me. He's
Yeah,
like, that API is not coming.
so I jumped in. First of all, thank you for being a Niners fan. We at least share that
I
passion.
know, I know. We've talked about that.
And, and you're absolutely right. We met in Arizona, if you remember correctly, at a bar in the evening at that Windsor event when we talked
Yes,
about. So yeah, thank you for your support over the years. And yes, you were one of the earliest hosts with Lisa Lund, if you remember, on
yes,
Broker.
I remember.
We did that a few years ago. So we do support two-way sync just to make sure. I know it has been a while since you looked at that, but even with Zapier, you can push information and pull information. Obviously, you need to do that setup, but that has been around for a while. What I was telling you the other day is in a few weeks, there'll be a native integration for some specific clients. You have to be at certain size which
Okay.
we are going to launch, and then over time it will become more prevalent. But I want to again thank you for being here, your time, and we greatly appreciate you.
Thanks for the opportunity, Harish.
I'm looking for some questions in here, but I'm going to go with one on what has the POS been like for your clients in the realtor
Great.
portal? Like, what has the feedback been?
I mean, I feel like no news is good news in our world, right? If they're not complaining about it, then it must be fabulous because everyone in our industry will complain about everything if they have the opportunity. Um, the point of sale has been fabulous, so we use obviously the application in Arrive as the point of sale for every ad that we run. If we run every link from our website, we send it directly to the Arrive point of sale. Our realtors, I don't turn on the availability for them to access it into Arrive. I just don't. And this is something that Harish has always talked to me about. We still use Lender Logics, but it's just because it works within our system. Like, I do think one day I do have to dive in and look at the realtor accessibility to your portal, because I know it functions very similarly to Lender Logics. But the point of sale, we've been using it since day one, and it's been fabulous.
That's awesome. Can you speak about the community engagement with Arrive and how we implement feedback from users like yourself?
Do you want me to tell you what I used to do? I used to like DM you guys to be like, hey, can't figure this. And Harish would always pop on. He'd be like, hey, we're working on that. It's amazing. I think this is a super supportive community and very willing to share, whether we're in the same markets or not. I think you're always worked as a collaborative team, and anytime, and there's never been like hush hush, like, oh, we can't tell people that that issue's been happening. You're very transparent about some of the problems and some of the fixes that are coming out, which I think is amazing in any tech platform. To be this transparent is just fabulous. Um, I see that question about Arrive acting as a CRM, and yes, I think, and Harish can probably talk to it, or there must be some sort of video on this about how Arrive does act as a CRM. I think at some point, Arrive will have the capability to take over the need for Salesforce. I just need to, number one, emotionally prepare myself to separate ways, because I feel like I've put blood, sweat, and tears into it. And it's also a crap ton of money in developing it. But that'll be a huge cost savings if at some point we can say goodbye to Salesforce and transition our CRM to 100% through Arrive.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of your favorite platform features and what's been most useful to your team to pick up efficiency since it seems like you love systems?
I am a data geek and I love looking at data. So custom reporting is something that I use a lot, just being able to run reports to pull certain closing dates or certain interest rate, reports to see if there's opportunities for refinancing or opportunities to reach out to the database to possibly talk about removing PMI, things like that. Custom reporting has been one of the biggest features for me.
That's awesome. What role in trainings do you have? So let's say you bring on somebody new as a loan officer, kind of walk me through if they're new to Arrive, how they get used to the platform.
So we use Trainual. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it's an online platform that's basically a handbook for a new employee. So there's a series of videos that we have that, number one, talks about like our mission statement and their role, proper expectations for each employee, and they have to go through the series of trainings that we've recorded, which is basically, number one, here's our point of sale. Number two, this is how you run an application. This is how you do a pre-approval. So we've built all those videos internally. I know that Arrive has amazing training videos, and it probably would have saved me a lot of time, but I think before those were created is when we were creating our videos. So we've just used ours, to stick with it. But there is a very systematic 2-week training period with a lot of videos before they get to sit down with me, because like most people on here, we realize that our time is our most valuable asset, and the least amount of time that we can spend with new hires is probably the better. As the CEO of the company, if eventually, hopefully, I can hire someone that their specific job is to train.
Got it. Okay, so we do have a new one. Past practice HELOC.
I'm not going to answer that one about pricing a HELOC and a refinance, because I have no idea about that one. So you guys are going to figure that one out.
I have a
Wait.
question, if I
Yeah.
can. Well, first I want to congratulate you for TWM. For me, was the
Great.
best speaker so far, the
Yeah.
best ever.
You need to tell me that. I was like, give me more than 20 minutes. How am I supposed to talk? I don't know if you could feel it, but I was like rushing, trying to get that talk
Was
done.
amazing. It was a very eye-opening presentation for sure.
Oh, good. Thank you for that.
So I actually, it's two questions. One is like, how many states are you originating? And the second one is, you present us a team like that you have four people, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
4 or
three
5.
that are, like, 3 that are active working my business. The 2 are marketing. So I wouldn't necessarily, like, they don't get into loan stuff. So I wouldn't call 2 of them like in our LOS or anything like that. But 3 are very active in our LOS. Yes.
So my question comes back to when you start hiring your team, who was your first hiree? Like, where did you start it? Because that's what I want to be. I starting on the first one.
So you saw me speak, obviously. So remember my first exercise where I wrote everything that I was doing down every day that was taking me away.
Personality. Oh,
Well, writing down everything that I was doing that was taking me away from money-making activities, which was meeting with real estate agents, having those conversations with real estate agents, and talking to my past clients. The first person I hired was a loan officer assistant. And I called them an LOA just because I could offload every single loan originating activity. So that would be running anything from the point of sale, like running an application, pre-approving them, chasing down W-2s, pay stubs, anything for initial submission, loving on them until they go under contract. So I was very specific about those loan pieces, and that was my first hire. So I basically said, okay, this is everything that I do that's around loans in my day. That's the job description for my first hire.
and who was the next?
My executive assistant was my next. Because the upfront communication got so busy once I was out selling, because think about it, right? If you take away all your loan junk activities, which is chasing conditions, talking to the clients about these conditions because they're upset, why do you need my bank? Like all of those conversations taken off your plate, you're going to sell a lot more. So there's a big influx of incoming leads once I was truly in my role of what I should be doing, which is out building relationships to get business. So then my executive assistant handles all the upfront communication. She literally has my number and talks as me. So texting back real estate agents if they need marketing support, texting them if we've connected with this referral yet. Oh, hey girl, you forgot to give me that referral's contact information. All of that communication up front was my next hire.
Oh, and how many states are you in?
Kansas, Missouri, and Florida. So 3 states.
3 states, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I have a very delicate question based on what I'm saying here right now. I don't know even if I should ask,
This
but
is
it's like,
Botox. No, I'm just kidding. No.
no. It's like about hiring someone, some like loan officer assistant. How do you pay these people? Like, how much should I
Okay,
pay?
so I've
Because
made
I don't
so
know
many,
exactly what should
yeah,
I
we can
pay.
talk about it. I've made so many mistakes with this. Okay. And make sure you're doing that personality profile up front so you know what drives them. If they're high D, high I, they're gonna want incentive for how hard they're working. Okay. If they have that drive when you disc profile them or whatever personality profile you use. I don't love that personality for my assistant because in the end, they're going to want to be you. They're going to want to be the one that's, has the glory, that has the lifestyle, that's not in the office taking care of loan applications. Okay. So look for more ones that have high S, high C, and those type of personalities like a consistent base and don't necessarily want basis points. I really want you to stay away from giving basis point incentive because think about it, the better you do, the more expensive that employee becomes, right? So when you're doing 4 or 5 or 6 loans a month and paying a certain number of bips on each file, that's not a bad bonus. But wait until you start racking in 20 loans a month. That employee becomes a very expensive employee and doesn't necessarily fit your P&L as well. So my advice is try to stay away from per file, have a fixed salary, and maybe do an end of the year bonus based on profitability.
That's exactly what I thought, because I did not know how to pay these people, to be honest. And that's something that's kind of pushing me away to hire because I don't know how to pay.
Where are you located?
In Florida,
In Florida? Where in Florida?
Miami, Broward, oh, in
Okay.
between Miami and Broward.
I was just talking to a loan originator in Florida, and you guys like it must be like the Miami lifestyle. You need a lot more money because I was like, oh my God, that's what loan officer assistants are asking out there. My advice on that would be don't be afraid to hire remote because a lot of what we do is based on the phone and Zoom now and through technology like Arrive, right? With the point of sale. So maybe find a girl in Oklahoma that doesn't want $100,000 a year to be a loan officer assistant.
Well, that's a good advice because that's a problem here. Everybody wants a lot of
I heard about that. I was like,
money,
what? They
like,
want 100 grand? I was like, that's a good, but comparatively to Kansas City, that's not, I mean, that would be a great salary for someone in Kansas City, but the lifestyle is very different in Miami.
it is. It's very expensive. So,
It
but
is.
thank you so much for answering my questions. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
of course.
There's a question in the chat that really goes with this subject, and it was, what is your workflow like for your loan officer assistant?
So I try to be very, very structured with my loan officer assistants because time is money for us, right? Response time is money for us. So their days are very, very, very structured, and we try to keep a lot of that external communication through to the executive assistant. Both the executive assistant and my loan officer assistant can see any text messages that are coming through my line. Remember, we don't have different numbers. It's only that one number, and everyone can log into Ring Central to see that communication. So I try to keep them focused on abiding by our turn times within internally. So for example, if conditions come out on a file between noon and 5, they are to be addressed and sent out to the borrower by between 8 a.m. and noon of the next day. So we're very strict about these expected turn times within our internal company. And if we're not going to meet them, then communication has to go out to the client and to the referral partners to let them know that.
I love that. Talk about your migration process from Point. Did you keep a seat, slowly do it? Are you still paying? Like everybody does it different, so I'm always curious about that.
God, that was a long time ago. I don't really remember. I think we kept the seat for a while because we needed it for our reporting, right? Like, and until we weren't, yeah, I think we kept this one seat just for Sean, my husband, to kind of pull back end reporting for a bit and but we pulled everyone and put them into Arrive. So we did the export import. I think you guys helped me with that. I don't know if you're still doing that.
So it sounds like it was a really easy transition for you because you're not remembering any pain points.
For sure. If it was bad, I would let you know. It would be
Yeah,
like painful in my memory. I would probably have PTSD from it, but no, we're fine. It was
that's awesome. How has Arrived changed your business, would you say?
It's just easier, it's faster. It's number one, it's made our response time quicker. And as Matt Ishby or anyone at UWM can talk about, speed to lead, speed to results is like the name of our game now. So the faster that you can do your job, the better. It's smooth, it's simple, it's easy to use. I just had a training with our credit partner now that we can pull these hybrid credit reports that don't trigger leads, which is fabulous. So then that'll take out some time from, I don't know if you guys do it, but I still delete out the cell number and still delete out the email address to try to prevent trigger leads from happening when we pull credit. But now using dual LP and DU within Arrive on those hybrid credit reports that are soft pulls has been a game changer for us.
Oh, I love hearing that. What
Yeah,
would you
fair
say to
money.
somebody who's on the fence about using Arrive?
What are
That's
you
like, hey,
doing?
like I don't want to do it because it's going to be too
Ooh,
much work to transfer over, whatever their
tell them to
excuse
call
is.
me. Like, what are they using right now? Like, what are, as a broker, like, what are you truly using that's going to even compete with Arrive? Is there anything out there? Is there, this is obviously skewed for Arrive because we're on your Broker Connect platform, but is there, who's your competitor right now?
Lending pad.
Seriously?
Not me, but
Oh,
I've heard.
yeah, no, Lending Pad is. I've just heard so many horror stories about Lending Pad and how clunky it is and how it goes down quite a bit. I mean, not that I'm talking shit, but I'm talking shit. Like, there isn't really anything out there. I don't know what I would say to them. I'd be like, you're missing out. Stop dragging your feet because you're afraid of change. Is that what I would say to them? That's what I'd say to them.
And remember, you guys, you can throw questions in chat or come off mute.
I'm very approachable.
I know, right? You
A
definitely are.
couple people are asking for the link of the training platform that you're using
Oh,
internally.
Trainual? Oh, it's just Google Trainual. I'll put it in there. Google Trainual.
So
It's cool.
I can't remember from your presentation when you transitioned to a broker from retail, but what point and when into the broker world did you decide to take on the marketing people? And I think you said you spent 5,000 a month for that.
1,000 a month I do spend on my marketing team. And that's approximately, if we boost a reel here and there, that might be more, after that. But truthfully, I was so scared of adding that additional expense. I wasn't scared of it. I wanted to add it right away. But my husband is like the gatekeeper of any money in our company, which is probably great because I would spend it all so fast. I'd be like, yeah, let's sign up for that, sign up for this. I'm notorious for that. But I would say I had my baby in 2019. So probably 2020. It was like right around when COVID hit. I think I went all in on marketing because I was number one, we were bored. We were home a lot, and I was also introduced to Craig Sewing and American Dream TV and then realized how much I need to be putting into like social media. I've always been on social media though, just not as consistent as I am now with a team. I don't text my clients through Arrive. And truthfully, it's because I'm just like what I was just making fun of people. Like I'm not great at change if nothing's not working, right? If something wasn't working, I would probably do it, but I'm not sure what the process looks like to text your clients through Arrive. I think that's awesome.
That's not available. It's only text updates, I believe. Is that right, Jalen? Like
For the Twilio,
there's no way to text a client in Arrive.
it's the milestone updates you're referring to?
I believe that's the only thing that's available, and I think it's Twilio.
Yeah, if you have to get a Twilio number to do it.
Adriana,
I just don't love that it's another number, but that can work for some people. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I would probably script it like, oh, Clear Mortgage bot here, update for you on 12345 Main Street. Your appraisal's back with value, yay! And then like exclamation point, exclamation point.
I have another question about the structure again. If you
You're
don't,
fine. Go ahead.
I'm kind of struggling with the structure, so that's why I'm and how much did you let it go and how much did it actually keep for yourself? And I mean, for example, a client call me, a client call you and they say, oh, I want to get a mortgage. Sorry for the background noise.
Okay.
So client call you and say, I want to I want to get you a mortgage, I'm going to get a mortgage, blah blah. So do you do the interview with this person, or do you already instantly you go to your loan officer assistant and they do the interview? Because I did this before and I missed communication from myself to the loan officer assistant. You know, like then we start saying, oh, you said that, you didn't say this, and blah blah. So how do you do this initial interview?
So in the beginning, when I first brought on a team member, I was very scared to let go of that control. So I used to do the intake calls and the finding calls, the Zooms, things like that. And like exactly what you said, a lot was lost in translation because I'm not the best at documenting my notes in my CRM or telling them things that I told them it would be or things like that. So now I don't take any of the intake calls. My assistant answers the phone, and if my loan officer assistant is available, he will do that right away, but she might direct them to the point of sale and have them fill out an application first. We always have everyone fill out an application before we even have a conversation. It's almost like if you're serious enough, then you need to fill this out before we even talk type of thing. It's to really screen people that are serious or not. We don't really want looky-loos, right? So we just say, hey, fill this out. This is like your barrier of entry. And that gives us time to then say, okay, great, you filled this out. Here are some time slots available so we can structure when those initial finding calls are. Does that make sense?
It does a lot because I sometimes I see myself in 30 minutes conversation with people just talking, you know?
And they don't even fill it out because they're talking to 4 other people right after you because your agent said, oh, I've got to give out 3 names, which they don't, by the way.
No, so that's a great question. A great answer, actually.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as much as you can, and it will hurt your soul in the beginning, but you just trust your decision with who you've hired on your team, and they will take care of your people just as you do. And if they don't, then you found the wrong person. You gotta hire them back.
What's the name of the personality test that you use?
I use DISC, DISC. And that's just one that I like. Some people like Strength Finder. Some people like Enneagram, whatever one use that one. But if you're not testing personalities before you hire, you're going to make some pretty bad mistakes.
Well, back in time, I'm Brazilian. So when I was in Brazil, I graduated as a psychologist. So I used to do these tests, but I don't remember them anymore.
I love the Brazilian culture. We had an au pair when my 3 boys were young and she was from Brazil. Number one, I think I gained like 20 pounds when she lived with us because your food is so good. She made, and she also threw some pretty good parties.
Yeah, we are good at that.
I do see one question in the chat on email, if you're doing it within the ARIVE platform or your standard email platform.
And you can yell at me. I didn't even know we could email out of ARIVE, so shame on
So
me.
you don't have like automation rules or any of that stuff set up that it's okay.
But
Because you're
that's
doing it
something
all
that
through
we can-
Salesforce.
Correct. See, so it moves and it triggers through Salesforce, and Salesforce sends it out. So I might be one of the ones that you need to like, okay, Adriana, we're gonna have to slowly transition you off of Salesforce and then like just put those same, because it probably would save us quite a bit of money because we're paying for essentially 2 platforms that are Salesforce is very expensive. But remember, it's like my little baby. that I can't let go of because I put too much money into it, but I need to let it go.
And time.
Yeah.
Can you talk about call reports and how our system has maybe saved you time on that?
Do I look like I run call reports? If I ran call reports, I wouldn't even be in business. They'd be like, you failed, fine her ass. Like she's doing nothing legally. So my husband does all the call reports and does use the reporting system out of Arrive. He has said that it's made his life a lot easier because he just has them set up and he just pushes a button.
Awesome.
That's what he tells me. So it must be doing well because he golfs a lot. So his job is like real easy. He's like, oh, push a button, bye. Do you have an in-house processor are you using? Okay, that's a great question, Irma, about the processing. So 2003 and 2004, we all saw some dips in our business, right? I held on to my in-house processor for way too long. I paid her a lot of money to keep her happy when we were going through our big refi boom. So she was very expensive. So when she decided to leave, I didn't fire her. She decided to leave. When she decided to leave, I never hired one back on. So we third party process through PA Plus on UWM. If it goes through UWM, we use, I'm not going to give out the name of the one that I really love because then she'll get really busy. We do have another third party processor, but we also use Willow when she gets too busy. Willow has been really good for us. And a lot of them Willow has a seat. PA Plus does not have a seat in Arrive. So when that we have to do a lot of updating as far as our LOA into Arrive because PA Plus doesn't access anything in Arrive. Does that make sense? Is that going to happen sometime? I don't know. Have you talked to UWM about that? Like if they can have a PA Plus seat that can, or if they can start updating in Arrive for us? Could be a good
I
conversation.
I am not familiar with that. I don't know if anybody on
Please
here.
tell Matt he needs to pay for his PA Plus to have seats in Arrive. I'm not getting involved in that conversation.
The dashboard, tell me about, do you use that as far as like driving your activity? Do your processors use that to get through the day?
I would love to see what you're talking about.
The
No.
Arrive dashboard when you
Yeah.
log in?
No. I mean, like what can you do a screen share and be like, this is what good practice? Because I think I'm not doing it. Are you guys using the dashboard? So it might be like some of the things that we built out in Salesforce again, and that would be very exciting. Let me see what my dashboard looks like. So when I log on, no, it goes straight to my loans. So I'm not using my dashboard appropriately.
Okay.
How are people using it? What are best practices with that?
I personally have heard people that like to use it just even just for the birthdays, right? Like it just gives you a count for the month, like easy things like that. Conditions that you need to handle, client needs.
So this is very similar to like what we would do. We built it out in Salesforce. So like the needs, like our tasks in Salesforce, but this is great that it has the capability to do it in Arrive, and this is pretty cool. No, I don't use it. I
And
probably should.
you touched a little bit on the dual AUS and the soft pulls, and I saw some people asking about the soft pull and how to do that.
So I think let me go back to hang on, let me go back to the Zoom chat. Who asked that
It was probably at the beginning.
at the beginning? What credit provider are you using? Oh yeah, Sean.
Melanie, does
Yes, they
DU and
can.
LP accept
Sean
hybrid?
Messina. Yes, they do accept DU and LP accepts hybrid software credit. Who's your credit provider that you're using?
Advantage credit.
Advantage?
Mhm.
So my Advantage, I used to use Advantage as well. And my rep changed to A plus. Let me double check. Hang on, I'm gonna log into it. This is a recent thing. Just recently changed. Let me go into my user settings to see who. Used to be Advantage Plus. I think it is Advantage Plus now. Used to be Advantage Plus now. You can pull a soft hybrid that we ran through DU and LP and it gave us findings. And according to my rep, UWM will take it and close with it. Windsor will as well. Those are my main two lenders that I use a ton of. So that was all I really asked for. Not all lenders will take it from contract to close, like will accept it through the process though. So just double check.
Okay. And it's A+ credit, Advantage Plus,
Yes,
so it might be the same company.
it might be, but just double check because she gave me brand new logins and she said it was a company change. So just double
Okay.
check with your rep. Who do you
Okay.
use over there? Is Joy your rep over there? At Advantage?
Chin, Gordon
Yeah,
Chin.
I would just ask her. Yes. So Emily Key, same thing. See how she said she had an advantage and she had a hard pull and a soft pull? You'll have a hybrid pull now that the login. But that should be the only one you're using, really, because I mean, you truly want to run findings. I used to get really nervous about using soft pull and not being able to run findings, especially for someone that was close or someone that had not so great credit. Because then I'd be like, man, did everything pull on? Are we seeing, all the public, all the derogatory stuff that's on there? And if I can't run findings, if my ratios are tight, it gives me anxiety.
Yeah, yeah. Last thing I want to do is give a bad pre-approval that a loan doesn't go through because
For sure.
something like that, not
Work
worth
together
your
and
partner.
stuff for that referral and that relationship. Last thing you want to do is ruin it because of the cost, because of the cost of the price of
Yeah.
a credit report.
Exactly.
But I'm not charged, if this transitions to this part, I don't charge for my credit reports up front. I want the least amount of barrier of entry for someone to apply with me. And I feel like in our market in the Midwest, if you're charging for like an app fee or something like that, you're not even gonna get a client to apply.
Yeah, I haven't done that either, but the bills and what's going on, because I'm in Tampa, Florida. And with the hurricanes and everything going on, it is tight right now. So
Yeah.
a lot of us are struggling.
I know.
And hurricane season starts tomorrow.
Oh my God.
There's already a name going out there
Oh, really? I haven't checked. I'm in New
as of yesterday.
I'm on the other coast, so.
It's supposed to come after y'all, not us.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Enjoy. My gift to you.
That's so scary. We get tornadoes, and because I'm not from here, I heard the sirens for the first time. I like went outside. I was like, I want to see it, and then my husband was like, "Get inside, get in the basement." And I was like, I want to see one of these. I
Well,
envisioned my sister.
we don't have basements here in Florida.
Yeah, you guys are on slabs. I've seen that. Well, because you guys flood all the time.
And Adriana, this is Lisa, account executive at ARIVE. We met a couple years ago at the Windsor event.
Great.
Yeah.
Nice to see you again.
And that's where I met Harish. So,
Oh,
and now I'm part of the team. So whatever you need, whatever your team needs, we're here to support you.
I appreciate that. And to go back to Melanie's question, some investors will accept hybrids from contract, like from submission through to closing. But just make sure you double check with your AE before you send one there if you pull the hybrid. Or get a list from your credit provider of who they know for sure accepts them.
ooh, that's a good tip. I never thought about asking
I
the credit
thought,
provider.
no, my rep said Penny Mac takes them. She just responded, Sarah just responded, said, I've had an issue with Penny Mac. My rep did say Penny Mac takes them, but I don't send a lot of loans to Penny Mac. But she did say Penny Mac was one of them that said, yes, they'll take them. Said not anymore. I'm going to fire off an email right now.
Same.
But keep.
Do you feel like you get your questions answered when problems or issues come up with ARIVE, or if your assistants are calling in and need help?
Yeah, truthfully, that doesn't happen often, and this isn't like a plug for ARIVE or anything. It doesn't happen often, but where I go first, and you guys will probably be, I go to our Facebook group page to see if anyone else is having problems with it, and then they're like, "Yep, put in a ticket or whatever." They said blah 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 minutes. So I don't call you much. I rely on my community to figure out my problems for me.
Ooh, I love that answer.
I guarantee half these people that are on this call probably do the same thing. You guys go on and like look in the Facebook community first and be like, oh yeah, system delays, blah, blah, blah. And then if it gets real bad, then I might ping Harish directly and be like, what is going on? No, I'm just kidding, Harish.
And again, remember, you guys can take yourselves off mute to ask any questions. It's definitely interactive here.
Oh, I have another question then. I have pictures of your slides from UWM,
Yeah.
and you says that I say that Wednesday you do well, Thursday you do agent prospecting calls, and Wednesday you make
Escort.
sales calls. You do you make them
Yes,
yourself, or
I
do
do it
you
myself.
outsource them? Do you
This is
cold call?
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm in Kansas City. This is not Miami. Like Miami, you've got a lot of agents that are producing. Like Kansas City, we have maybe 500 that are actually producing out of 15,000 licenses, right? So it's pretty small. And I've done enough on social media that this isn't my ego saying, but I will say it, like they should know who I am by now. So when I call them, I know that I know who they're sending their business to. Redder's really good about looking at that. I know who they're sending their business to. I can have the conversation to be like, let's collab on some social media. What value are they bringing you besides closing your loans on time? You know, I can kind of, they should know who I am. And I like making these calls. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm like, I still got it. Like the Wolf of Wall Street. Like I can eat, you know? I'm like, yeah. I like making those calls. And like the Tuesday update calls, I still do those too because it's like the CEO is checking in to make sure that everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure you're taken care of. And it gives me the opportunity to ask for a referral. I think my LOAs are not great about asking for referrals because they're calling and talking so much. It's weird to end every phone conversation asking for a referral. But mine's like, hey, is there anything else that we can help you with? And they're like, no, you guys have been great. I'm like, awesome. Well, when you're excited about closing on your home and you're talking to your friends, your family, and your coworkers, make sure you recommend us or give us a Google review right now. The sooner I can get that Google review, the better.
Perfect. Yeah.
I like making, and it's 2 hours, really. If it gets more than that, I get tired and I don't continue.
So how did you start the social media? Because that's one thing that we don't have. Like we have like 400 followers, so it's not.
Keep going and like say yes to all the podcast asks. Say yes to like example with Arrive because you get followers from this. Say yes to any opportunity. Become yes man. Just like what was that movie? Who was it? It was Jim Carrey. Remember when he said yes to
Yeah, yes,
everything?
man. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just start grow organically. And like good people will find you. Your people will find you if you're authentic on social media.
Okay.
Teach, don't sell.
Yeah. Or really, I don't just be you. Like on my personal, I don't sometimes I teach more on like our business one because I know that's the content that they're looking for. On my personal, I'm like, this is a day in life. This is what I'm doing today. This is like, oh, run into another kid's sports event. You know, like I use that so people know I'm a real human being and I'm not like some intimidating, aggressive female that's coming for them.
So you have two Instagram.
Oh, yes. 2 Instagrams, 2 TikToks, 2 YouTubes. That's why
Oh,
I had to have a team. Like not to overwhelm you, pick one. Pick one that you're good at and that you enjoy and that you look at. Where do you doom scroll? Do you doom scroll on TikTok or you doom scroll on Instagram?
Instagram.
Yeah, then stay on Instagram.
So you have one personal and one business.
Yes. So for you right now, focus on your personal, talk about your family. Everybody should get their phones out right now and take a little picture of us all in our Zoom.
Just be like, we're working today. See? It's
Yeah.
content.
Wait, Murillo?
Murillo.
Yeah, say something. Okay, now you're on mine. I'll tag you in it.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute. All right.
Thank you.
So when you hired your LOA, your first hire, how much business were you doing when you did that?
I was doing like 10 loans a month and I was dying. I was dying. This is like the story I was talking about on at UWM and I like get upset about it. It was like I was having a baby and running pre-approvals, talking to people, like giving my updates when I was having like one of the best moments that I should have celebrated with my family. You know, I was like so excited that people were going to leave me alone so I could work. It was sad. I was doing about 10, 15. You know that roller coaster when you don't have help because you like prospect, prospect, prospect. Then you got to handle all the deals that come in. And you're like, oh crap, I don't have deals anymore. Prospect some more. You know, it wasn't as consistent. A team
You,
really allowed me to be consistent.
you were doing 10 deals a month when you did that?
Yeah, 10 to 15, all by myself,
How many deals a month are you doing now?
like 20. But I have a good family life. Like I'd work like 2 hours. I'm at Pilates. I go get my hair done and I can actually like sit, right? I get my nails done and I'm not like stressed out because why is it that we make an appointment but they're never on time anyway? That's like a whole nother thing that we need to figure out. Drives me crazy.
Or the doctor wants to charge you after you waited an hour for them.
And then this is my biggest win though. And I said it at UWM. Like the fact that I can leave at 2:30 or 3, go pick up my sons, make sure they're at practice is like the biggest win. And I don't have to worry about my business stopping and I don't have to tell somebody that I'm leaving. That's like success in my eyes. Yeah, a nice car and a designer bag is a nice add-on, but like the true thing is like knowing that you're still going to close those many deals, knowing that things are still happening to bring in business when you're with your kids at the ball fields is like the biggest thing for me.
Well, when you're at the ball field, tell us how you can log into Arrive on your phone. Tell us that experience if you've ever needed to be on the field and do stuff. Do you ever use it on your phone?
I've never logged into Arrive on my phone.
You know, it's exactly the same. You can do everything you need.
See, don't tell me that because I say, you know what? And when my team's like, hey, can you look at this? Like, so, because I still get involved, guys. Don't think I'm like 100% hands off. There's still times that I have to like hop in. I'm like, no, I can't. Sorry. How would you fix it? Don't tell me that I can get on my phone. That's going to ruin it. But anyway, I don't get on my phone. But that's
And then if
great.
you guys
Well,
didn't
like,
notice, we have the Facebook group going over here in the chat too. If you are a member of the Facebook group, make sure you give us a little heart over there. Everybody should be a member of the Facebook group, probably that's on here.
right? Aren't you automatically in the Facebook group? Don't you like, isn't that one of the onboarding steps?
We hope so, but not
It's
everybody adds
onboarding steps to
themselves.
make it mandatory to be like a member of the Facebook group.
I like that.
Because it's like half of your onboarding questions get is solved because they just put it in the Facebook group.
Good point. Any other questions that you guys are coming up with? Check the chat for a second.
Sarah asks, so Salesforce and Arrive to communicate. So I only communicate through Salesforce. I haven't, and sorry, Arrive, but I just haven't like learned it. I haven't like changed our process yet to communicate from Arrive. That was a newer thing that's happened since I've been an Arrive user, right? Like in my defense, this wasn't something that like you guys had when I first came on. And there is, according to Harish, there is a bi-directional sync. I only have a one-way sync right now. I need to onboard.
We have an onboarding call that is every Monday at 10 Pacific. So if you go to our Arrive events, then you can register for the onboarding call. So if you haven't done anything and done part 1 or part 2 user training, I always recommend start with onboarding so you don't actually accidentally make a couple mistakes that you might want to change later on. So onboarding and then part 1 and 2 for new user training, which is on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Did I miss any questions? There's a lot of chat, so I want to make sure. Hey, if someone unmute themselves, if there's more, if I missed anything.
And the trainings usually for the onboarding is an hour, and for part 1 and 2, it's an hour and a half.
Hey, Adriana, it's Colleen. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi.
After you sent me that private DM, don't turn your camera on. I'm just kidding.
I won't. Multitasking today. Anyways, hey, how are you coaching your team to handle people that after you have done all the work, upfront work, and got them under contract, sold the deal to the listing agent, got everything all rocking and rolling, you're ready to move the file to your team so that they can run it through processing and on to closing, and they're like, "Ooh, yeah, we're gonna do some shopping." How are you?
So I know
Handling.
they're shopping when they don't sign their initial disclosures right away. Like that's
For sure.
that's like the biggest indication. Like when my team's like, we put huge sense of urgency for them to be fast, and we want to get them truly approved, like conditional approval within 3 days. So we try to put the most sense of urgency and like not fear in our clients, but like we're pushing really hard up front so that we can tell the seller that you have a good loan, that we're good to go. We want to get this done as quickly as possible. So the faster we can push them to sign, the better. And most of the time, because we've been so communicative, they do it right away. When there's a delay, we know they're shopping. So we try to be proactive about it. We're texting them a lot, like a lot of texting to be like, reminder, we're the best in the business. Our communication to the listing agent is part of the reason that you got this deal. If you are going to switch lenders, that is something that the seller has to approve and you're changing the contract. Do you want to we're in a very competitive market. So like for someone to
Right.
actually win a deal, it's a big thing right now. And we like celebrate and it's a big thing. We try to make sure they understand a part of the reason they got this was because we talked to that listing agent and they know that we're on the other side of the deal. So as much, but we lose them too, because listen, I know there's brokers out there that are racing the bottom. I know what my value is, and I'm not going to do something for less than 175. I'm not. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. I'm not going to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
if it gets there where they've shopped and they're like, oh, can you match this Ellie? I'm not. No, go ahead. Good
Yeah.
riddance. It clears off. I'm a big like energy and universe person. Like the faster you can get rid of that negative energy, it's like opening the door for more positive to flow in, is how
Oh,
I
for sure.
does that make
Yeah.
sense? It's kind of woo
Yeah.
woo, but I'm a little bit
No,
woo.
I'm in. I'm in with you on that. But
You
yeah,
know,
no,
when there's nothing, it still bothers me. Don't get me wrong, because
oh,
I'm
it
like,
pisses me off.
we busted our ass to get you pre-approved. We answered your questions, and I will still answer questions, guys, if it's 7 o'clock. I'm not gonna make my team like answer these texts. We try to be as proactive as possible, but I still do it. I still, if they have to take a call in the evening, I won't have my team do it. I'll do it. And we still, you know, it still hurts. I'm not, but it's hurting less when you remind yourself of the value that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm just not pointing out that it is that we have invested a bunch of costs and time and energy and we've stuck our neck out. It's our name on that pre-qual letter. I am telling them that, and it's for some people it's coming off. They get very guarded about that. But I'm no longer going to be like, oh, it's okay, just let us know. That's not going to be me anymore. I'm calling it out because it's crap.
It is, and remind them of the one who, hey, is that bank going to answer your 9,000 questions at 9 p.m. at night? They're not. They're not going to answer
Mhm.
questions on Saturday. They're not going to call the listing agent to help you. There's a different level of service. So don't use our letter to win you the deal to then just ditch it. Like you got to like politely say that. And your agent should have your back.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. There's a question in there from an Angel. That's an us question. If you can answer in the chat.
Well, for me,
Yeah.
if you're doing the update calls, if they're asking specific file questions, what I say is, hey, listen, uh, if it's Austin or Julianne, whoever's on there, I'll be like, Austin's the one that's running this, and let me get back to, he's going to give you a call right when we get off the phone. But is he doing a good job for you? Is he answering? And they're most of the time they're saying yes. And if they're upset about something, I'll be like, I will address that person with Austin. Expect an update in the next hour. I don't know the answer to those questions, but we run a report in Salesforce. It's called our LO update calls where I have to see, specific things. How many conditions are left? What are they? And it's like a little note section just in there. So they know on Tuesdays I'm going to be doing my update calls. That has to all be updated. When's the appraisal been ordered? When's it due back? Any issues? And they'll put like asterisks on this one, like, hey, they are very upset that their parents need to provide a bank statement or something like that. So tread lightly. That's what's going on with it. The notes are usually pretty thorough. But if there is something that I can't answer, I'm not going to lie. I'll be like, hey, you know what? Austin's running point on this. Let me make sure that he looks into it and he'll give you a call within the hour. Is that good? I'm not gonna lie though, sometimes I'm like, wow, that sounds real shitty. Let me hop in that file real quick and look while I have you on the phone. And then usually I figure it out.
Are you going to use and utilize the Mia from UWM?
I haven't even looked at it yet. She sounded like a robot. I don't know. I just think it's another thing. It's another toy, another tool. Maybe I'm doing a pretty decent job though of reaching out to my past database. So maybe if I say, hey, I got a robot that's going to try to like, I might use it as like a look at me, I'm jumping onto AI type of thing, right? And then so that way when it does come through, they're not caught off guard. I think it's going to be bad if you don't let your clients know it's coming and then they call them and you're like, what the hell is going on over there?
That makes sense.
I am still. Has anyone attended like a really good AI in lending like session or Zoom session? Because one of the things that I'm interested in is like, okay, is AI getting to the point where I can now potentially buy leads and an AI bot can like respond and then send them the link to like apply? Is there like ways that I can leverage AI to then change a piece of my shop? Like that's something that I'm super interested in.
We just had in California the Innovation Conference, and there was tons of people for 2 days specifically speaking about that topic alone. So I can like send you some of the names
I would
of the
love it.
companies that were there. It was
But
pretty
I don't like I
fascinating
wanna
to
build it.
watch.
I don't have time to build it. I don't want to build it. I just want it to work.
That's exactly what I've been looking for. Something that can take application by voice. Like just ask the questions and the people answer and that's it. You know, like a transcript from this meeting would be amazing because when I send the link for them to type everything and like they cannot open their phone, it just became too complicated. But if they ask and the people answer, would be just amazing.
Wait, so some of your clients are giving you a hard time about typing into the point of sale. Use Arrive as your application.
Right.
They're not able to do that. It's like the easiest.
They're just lazy, you know.
Yeah, that's
Send
it.
them
So like,
send them the link for the application, and they just take like a week to do that. You know, like
it's a sense of urgency. And then if your agent's like upset that you just sent the link, because I have had a couple of real estate agents be like, oh, you won't even have the conversation until you send the link. I'm like, no, because all of the questions that I'm going to ask them on the phone are in the application. It would be a much more efficient question and answer and opportunity finding meeting if I knew what I was walking into. And it's a barrier of entry for me. I will not have a fact finding call unless they fill out the app. Because otherwise, the whole call is me taking the app over the phone. Am I? Wait, way more than that. Sorry, but it's
and
true.
no, that's amazing because sometimes you take 30, 40 minutes talking to people on the phone, and they're saying that they had a job 4 years ago that they were W-2 and now they're not. You know, like.
And then train your team to really look through those applications and ask those questions via text. Remember, that's you in the text to be like, hey, I see that there was a job change here. Are you still W-2'd with overtime, or is this now a 1099 contracting? Like they can ask some of the pre finding questions so you have all the data in front of you before you even get on that call, if it's you. That'd be a really good way to start like offloading that, right? Have your assistant start to just work it up and then they schedule the time on your calendar. So you know that's just 15 minutes because you're going through Arrive, making sure everything's right. Okay, cool. Boom, 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 boom. Good DTI. Have them run findings and then you just talk to them about how amazing you are for 15 minutes.
So you don't even do a pre-app call to find out what they have going on, anything like that?
Nope. If they are calling me, they need money. Some way or another. And I have
Well,
like,
I
Just get
also,
the application via
they've got to
online.
do it. Yep, they've got it. And because we're referral based, I think that is why some of the reason, our agents have already kind of sold on the service and they're like, okay, you're to the point where you need to have a pre-approval. Here's the next step, right? So like they are not caught off guard that they have to fill out an app.
No, I just always have the conversation to find out what they have going on with the white sheet and ask the questions to make sure if there's a cosigner needed, what's there and all that stuff. And I've dug in deep and found stuff other people have missed because of the conversation and just being creative.
I mean, you could do it that way. I just want the app in front of me first. So I'm not asking them things about like their work history and how much money they have in the bank and like, oh, wait, you have this many liabilities. Like when you're taking that in initial app, I just don't know if it's always accurate.
Well, finding out that the vehicle's under the business and you can remove it from liabilities,
Oh,
things like that.
Totally. I have that same exact conversation once I have the application in front of me. Because I'll be like, your DTI looks a little high here. Hey, let's talk about your business really quick. You have 6 vehicles listed on here. Are any of them ran through the business?
As we're getting close to the top of the hour, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, Adriana, for jumping on and sharing your experiences. Totally invaluable to all the people listening, especially all the business tips. I think you were right. That's definitely what people would love to hear. Our community is so thankful
How
for
much
your
about Arrive you
time.
can ask me because I'm not the best about it, but about running the business, I can totally answer.
All right, you guys can catch us live back here for Broker Connect in the next 2 weeks. We will have another awesome guest for you waiting to share their knowledge. And thank you all so much for tuning in and have a wonderful weekend and happy Friday.
Thank you, Adriana.
Yay, no problem.
Bye bye. Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.